Hello and Kung Hei Fat Choi from all of us here at Pearl Magazine. As we celebrate the first day of Lunar New Year, many people make traditional dishes and snacks as they gather with family members. It's a custom for Chinese around the world to enjoy the most sumptuous food during the biggest Chinese holiday of the year. While some people believe in cooking the traditional way, there are also culinary creations that younger people fancy.
The most important thing about eating poon choi is that everyone is happy and reunited.
If you raise chickens, ducks, and pigs yourself, you will add those. You can also add whatever vegetables you grow.
It means reunion. It is round and swell up as if it is rising step by step.
The sound of fireworks reminds people to kick off the new year with a bang. There is no doubt Chinese people attach great importance to the Lunar New Year. During this time of the year, every family goes to the market to buy the freshest ingredients and prepare a good meal for relatives and friends. Also, people may choose to eat poon choi. It's a big pot with many different styles of delicacies inside to satisfy everyone's palate. It also contains the traditional food culture of the villages in the New Territories, which has been with them for hundreds of years. 61-year-old Stephen Ho is a Hakka, a southern Chinese group. He moved to the UK with his parents in his teens and has been living there for more than 30 years.
My parents were working in the UK at the time. After we finished primary school, they took us there too. But my English was not good in school, so I started working at the age of 16. There weren't many job options for me, and most people worked in F&B, more than 90% of them Chinese. So I chose to work in the kitchen too.
Despite living in the UK since a young age, Stephen has never forgotten his hometown cuisine. He believes that the traditional poon choi can relieve the homesickness of many overseas Chinese.
After the 1990s, there was an influx of migrants from Hong Kong. We thought about making poon choi, a dish from our hometown, catering to these migrants. Poon choi is mainly enjoyed by Chinese, and it's not popular among other people, so it was quite similar to the dish in Hong Kong.
More people eat poon choi now, and the ingredients have become more particular. But Stephen says that in the past, people in the New Territories were not rich, so they would just use common ingredients, and most of them were locally sourced.
If you raise chickens, ducks, and pigs yourself, you will add those. You can also add whatever vegetables you grow. Seafood is exclusive to rich families. The general public has mostly common food ingredients, so they eat what they grow and raise, and that's it.
Now poon choi contains high-end ingredients such as fish maw, dried oysters, and abalone. But for Stephen, the essence of poon choi should be braised pork.
We have abalone and shrimp because they mean everything and laughter. We have fish maw, fat choi, and good deeds. But pork is the main character, and Hakka is most famous for its braised pork. There are different methods for making it, and each village is different. People in the New Territories used to raise pigs, so of course pork is the main ingredient.
After processing the ingredients, the next step is to place them in different layers. And it's very specific. Stephen says that the expensive ingredients should be placed on the top layer.
When placing the poon choi, the ones that absorb the soup are usually placed on the lower layers. Then the pork, mushrooms, and other ingredients. Every chef has a different presentation. Cantonese cuisine has standards for color, aroma, and taste. Color is the first priority. Therefore, whether your poon choi looks beautiful and attractive to others is the first thing. Then it must smell nice, and taste is third. Color and decoration are very important. The more beautiful your poon choi is, the more attractive it is. This is the most important.
During Lunar New Year, people focus on good intentions. Different ingredients in a pun choi carry different meanings. Stephen says eating pun choi is all about the atmosphere.
In the past, many people in the new territories left to work elsewhere, and they only returned home during festivals. The whole family would be there and happily enjoy the pun choi together. It's not just about eating it, but having that kind of feeling of a close family. The ingredients of pun choi are the second.
The Hakka people like good intentions, and pun choi also has its own meaning. Eating pun choi together symbolizes family reunion. So every Lunar New Year, Alan Chan from the Pingyung village will gather friends and neighbors to eat pun choi to celebrate.
The most important thing about eating pun choi is that everyone is happy and reunited. Eating is secondary. As long as the family is in harmony, friends and brothers from the same village can join together. That would be the happiest. It cannot be achieved with just money. The taste of home can't be found elsewhere.
Villagers in the new territories have been eating pun choi for hundreds of years, and they hold pun choi feasts every festival.
Basically, pun choi is the symbol of Hakka people. All big festivals are celebrated with pun choi because of its meaning. Pun choi has another name. All the ingredients are put together like a hodgepodge. There is this old saying, 100 birds returning to the nest, meaning all people in the family will come back home during the Lunar New Year, and this is the meaning of pun choi.
In addition to the meaning of reunion, pun choi also has a story related to the Southern Song dynasty.
It is said that at the end of the Southern Song dynasty, the emperor, the royal family, and their relatives were in trouble, and they fled south to the villages in Hong Kong, which is now the new territories. In the past, the countryside people were poor and had no good food to greet them. So each family brought out a little of what they had. More than 10 varieties were put and cooked together in a big pot to serve the emperor. After tasting it, the emperor said it was good, so the Hakka people passed it down.
It is indeed heartwarming to get together during the Lunar New Year and enjoy pun choi happily. However, due to the epidemic situation in recent years, Alan says the atmosphere in the surrounding villages is not as good as before.
Lunar New Year used to be a very lively festival, but now, due to the restrictions on gathering, it's cool. We would have set off fireworks then, but there are no such things now. It seems that the atmosphere is not as strong.
After eating pun choi, there is an after-dinner activity in the village. 66-year-old Chan Yuk-hung is going to make traditional Hakka snacks, radish dumpling, with other women.
We'll need dry shrimp, sausage, preserved pork, salted meat, etc. These are the traditional ingredients for making it. I heard from the old people that they will eat it during the winter time, and it is usually the season for making it. They can make it every time of the year, but the most popular time is now. They said eating radishes during winter is good for health.
Chan Yuk-hung often travels between Hong Kong and the UK. Every Lunar New Year, she returns to Hong Kong because the feeling of the New Year in the villages can't be found elsewhere.
We live in different places, taking care of our children and grandchildren, all of whom are still in the UK. Every year, I will spend a few months in the UK and come back in about 5 to 6 months to celebrate the New Year. When we were young, we had a lot to eat, but now it is much simpler and not as lively as before.
People may hear a lot about radish dumpling, but making this traditional Hakka food is no easy task. If one step goes wrong, all previous efforts are wasted.
The steps are complicated. The sticky rice flour must be cooked and then kneaded until it becomes elastic so that the wrapper won't crack. Then hold it with leaves and steam it. If it doesn't have enough gluten tenacity, it will break. It requires skill. Some people don't make it well. It will burst when steaming, and the skin must be beautiful.
After kneading the flour and filling, steam the radish dumpling for 15 minutes and it's all done. The reason she insists on making it by hand is to teach young people about this tradition.
It means reunion. It is round and swell up as if it is rising step by step. Our villagers used to use bamboo to hold and steam it. This is really traditional, but not every family have that kind of tool in the past. So instead, they used steamer and cooked it in 2 compartments. These traditions must be continued, and our children need to know why they are eating this food during the Lunar New Year.
When we come back, a look at how tutorial schools are overcoming the lack of students and teachers. Stay with us. Welcome back to Pearl Magazine. As the population of Hong Kong decreases, the birth rate goes down. Coupled with the reform of the examination system in the city, fewer and fewer students participate in the public examinations, and this ultimately hurts the business of tutorial centers. However, the demand for extra education still exists. A secondary school student, Brian, has a lot planned out for today.
Generally, after practicing running here, I will go to my tutorial school. I want to enter college, and my English must reach at least the 3rd level. But it's not good enough yet. I hope to see improvements. It will be helpful for my future admission to universities and my career.
Tutoring is necessary for Brian, a young man who's going to take the university entrance examination next year.
At school, teachers may have different focuses, and students also have learning differences. The tutorial center can let me know where my weaknesses are. It gives me extra personalized advice, so I can get individualized learning.
In addition to attending school, Brian also needs to practice running. But still, he is willing to spend 3 days a week on extra tuition. Currently, besides English, he also has math classes, and the monthly cost is over $2,000.
After tutoring, my grades have improved significantly by 20 to 30%. My family supports me too, because they all agree that good education is a ticket to society. And it will help my athletic career as well.
According to the latest statistics, candidates for the Hong Kong Diploma of Secondary Education examination have continued to decline in recent years, from over 80,000 at its peak to just around 50,000 last year. Compared with the introduction of the exam in 2012, the number of candidates has dropped by 31%.
In the past 3 years, we've invested over $1 million in educational technology. We have a new tutorial center of more than 3,000 square feet coming soon. Therefore, our fixed expenditure is pretty high, and the education industry has off-peak seasons every year. Fixed expenditure will pose financial pressure on us, but we're still in an investment period. Although it has not yet paid off, we're confident that it will pay back in the future.
Spencer Lam is an English tutor himself. At the time of the epidemic outbreak in 2020, thinking that rent was relatively cheap, Lam and his friends spent $7 million to set up this tutorial company. However, the start wasn't smooth. In addition to a decrease in the number of students, tutors were also hard to find.
Waves of emigration make it hard to hire tutors and professionals. We once spent 5 figures per month to post job ads on different channels and didn't receive a single resume for 2 consecutive weeks. No suitable candidates.
Compared to the traditional tutorial centers, their selling point is artificial intelligence, which can analyze the needs of each student and then provide relevant assistance.
I was deeply impressed that there was this student who was educated by English teaching methods and came from a traditional prestigious school. Everyone thought his English would be good, but he didn't get enough scores in writing. He mistakenly thought that it was a matter of vocabulary and spent 3 months memorizing real-life stories, only to find that his grades dropped by 20%. It turned out that he didn't use comprehensive examples, so a targeted evaluation helped him.
Lam believes that the tutoring market is constantly changing, especially in recent years. It is no longer concentrated on a few large tutorial agencies or a few well-known tutors, so there is still a lot of room for development.
Students have been more willing to choose small and medium-sized companies for tutoring in recent years. They pursue personalization and timely follow-ups. The market becomes more and more fragmented with different platforms for promotion, and that makes it easier to contact different students, and the industry is flourishing.
However, setting up a tutorial school isn't the only way to be engaged in the industry. In 2014, Andy Ng, a college student at the time, made a humble start. He spent just $10,000 to establish a matching platform and made profits by charging commissions.
How to use the $10,000 at the beginning? Part of it was used to build a website. Part went to parents and students for registration work. The rest was to produce promotional materials, including leaflets and posters, and promotion works like distributing leaflets on the street.
The company has been in operation for 8 years now with steady business. Currently, it has an average of 1,500 newly registered tutors every month and 2,000 to 3,000 new students monthly.
Our customers are mainly primary and secondary school students. Primary students account for about 70% of our customers. Why are they the majority? Well, primary students have to face the internal assessment for secondary school places allocation. Their parents hope they can solve learning difficulties and pass the examination.
As the company grows stronger, the amount of investment is also soaring to millions of dollars.
About 4 years ago, the number of customers began to increase from a few customers a day to 30 to 50 daily. At that time, I decided to develop a system to help us more effectively in matching customers and suitable tutors. This semi-automatic matching system cost us $2 million, but also reduced our time and effort in the matching process.
In recent years, he noticed changes to the tutoring market. One is fewer tutors, and the other is that more and more young children are attending tutorial schools.
The demand in the early childhood education market is gradually increasing. Many parents are looking for tutoring services, including pinyin, playgroups, etc., for their kindergarten children to adapt to learning as early as possible.
Mark Bray, a scholar who's been researching comparative education for 25 years, believes that the demand for tutoring in Hong Kong is still huge because of the competition.
The main driving force is competition. Competition, competition, competition. And it's not just competition within your school and with other students around Hong Kong. It's competition within China as a whole, within Asia, within the world. And globalization is making us much more competitive. But for Hong Kong, I think especially competition with the rest of China is making things very competitive.
He pointed out that due to competition, the demand for extra education is no longer only for primary and secondary school students, but also much younger children.
Shadow education is not going to go away. There will continue to be a market, there will continue to be a perceived need by families to help with the exams in particular, but also to help with things like self-esteem and study skills and broader aspects of life. Indeed, even in kindergarten, to help parents to find their way into the primary school of choice. Parents will use whatever mechanisms they can find to help their children in the competitive society.
That's our show for this week. Join us on Pearl Magazine, same time next week. Bye for now.